welcome. This is Diego Accord here in the Ramblings of a Bored Guy, and today I'm going to talk about October. So October actually has a few different dates that actually have some meaning. Which is, that's uncommon for any month of the year, of any year, including Octobers of other years. So these dates are the 11th, 12th, 17th, 19th, and 28th. So I'll talk about them in the kind of order. The order of, importance or something, something like that. Still arbitrary, I guess. So the 28th, that is when Bayonetta 3 comes out, and that arrives exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. It is also going to be the first Switch game that I purchased since Metroid Dread. And Metroid Dread also happens to be my favorite game of last year. It was my personal go-to. So, I don't know if this is gonna get, who knows? This could be the game of the year. So, if I recall all the games that I purchased, there was a blitz of games at the beginning of the year, and I got 5 or so games at the beginning of the month. So I think March and April is when all this stuff came out, because I got GT7, Elden Ring, King of Fighters 15, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Horizon Forbidden West. That stuff all came out right as a blitz. That's funny because I got all this stuff on console. Like Elden Ring, I bought that on Xbox, and then other stuff I got all on PS5. And that's despite my PC does have a 3080 Ti in it, which means that it'll outperform those consoles by a long margin. I can turn all those settings up and all that stuff. But whenever a game's available, I like to have the physical copy whenever possible, and I will take that. I'll do that. I'll get it on that platform. So I can have my physical copy. But since that blitz of games, I didn't pick anything up until Saints Row, the new 2022 Saints Row reboot came out. And I actually bought that on 2 platforms initially. So I bought it on PC. Because there was something I got called into work the day that it came out. So I could not pick up my physical copy that I pre-ordered on Xbox, which was the Notorious edition, the $90 edition. So, I started playing it on PC. And then I picked up my Xbox copy the next day. And, I beat it on PC. I was not, the game was just meh. So I ended up just taking that copy back. And that was, from GameStop. I didn't open it, so therefore I could take it back with a full refund. And that's what I did. I took the game right the fuck back. But of course I'm still stuck with the digital version. So I don't really buy digital games. I have a digital copy of the game that I can't fucking do anything with other than maybe play some. I don't know. But with those games, I honestly have not beaten a lot of that stuff yet. I haven't beaten any of those games. Horizon, I was still in the beginning of that game when I just started playing something else. I don't remember what it was, but I didn't beat that. I haven't beaten Ghostwire, despite getting those games the days that they came out. I haven't beaten Elden Ring, of course. I haven't beaten that shit. But, whatever. GT is not something that you really beat, nor is King of Fighters, because King of Fighters is a fighting game. You just keep playing it as you desire to, get better, and, so on and so forth. So there's that. But you know, I don't think I'm gonna be picking up any other games until Bayonetta. So 28th Bayonetta. What is the next date? So the next day that has any significance is the 19th. That is my birthday. Now, it's not significant because it's my birthday. I have not celebrated a birthday since like 11 or 12. And that was just, you know, you do the snack thing, feeding people and playing a bunch of video games and that, you know, with some schoolmates, and that was it. And, you know, I don't even think anybody I'd even consider like a friend today. Well, like one person. So, you know, I mean, that's what that was. Just, you know, kid stuff. Haven't celebrated a birthday since then. And then, you know, even after that, what birthdays are significant? You know, 16 is significant because that's when you can get a job. I mean, technically you can get a job before that. But getting hired and having all of, you know, is much more difficult before that age. And then you've got a lot of rules that were in place at the time for people that were under 16 if they did get hired. And those rules are pretty much the reason why nobody would hire you. Like, think like 3 hours a day that you could work. And, you know, some other stuff. I mean, you wouldn't have made any money. So anyway, there's that. And then there's 18 when you become, you know, legally grown. And then there's 21 when you can, you know, drink legally. Which, you know, I guess the other thing about 18 is, oh, you can buy cigarettes. Which it might be 21 now. I don't know. I've never smoked. Unless you consider, you know, your mother has a cigarette lit and you're a very young kid, you'd like, let me do this. And then it's like, oh my God, this is so fucking horrible. Why the fuck would somebody want to do this? Same thing with, you know, like beer. I remember, like, you know, like the beer was out at something. I'm a kid and I'd take like, oh, you know, these adults enjoy this so much, it seems like, and it looks like, you know, it looks like a drink that you would, you know, your child mind, like, oh, look at that, I'm gonna drink it. And then it fucking, just like cigarettes, it tastes so fucking bad. And then, you know, so I mean, that's just the beginning. And then, you know, when you learn about what that stuff can do, the other aspects of, you know, that stuff, I mean, like, when you smoke, you fucking stink. That's just how it is. Stinks. Drinking. I don't want to get a fucking DUI. I care about my license and freedom and all that shit too much. To wake up not knowing what I've done, and I got felonies, like, you know, and I don't know what kind of drunk I'm gonna be. It doesn't even have to be as bad as that, but it could just be some bad stuff. Don't know. Don't want to find out. Don't care to find out. But this particular birthday, the reason why it has the potential to be of importance is because another date, the 17th, is when I go on vacation. I have a vacation, you know, it's tentative. We have to put a vacation in. They want us to put at least one in at the beginning of the year, regardless of how many you're going to take, or if you're going to take one at all. Now, I don't have to take this vacation, and I actually set it out as far back as possible, in hopes that maybe Japan will open this year. So it was just like a date, like, well, let's look at the calendar. The latest we can do is, you know, October. Can't really do them in November and all that stuff. But it just so happens that Japan announced that on the 11th of October, they are opening up fully. So this has been years in waiting. Finally, something that I've been wanting to do, something that a lot of people have been wanting to do. So Japan opens up October the 11th for full-on normal tourism, you know, no rules and whatnot. They were the last country to, you know, pretty much go back to normal, and they try to fight it as much as possible. And I think the only reason that they have acquiesced is simply because of the crashing value of the yen. And it's like, hey, if You don't want to join in this whole world trade thing. This is kind of what happens. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, their prime minister did say that's exactly why they're doing it, to shore up the value of the yen. It's dropping too much. Which, hey, it is what it is. If you want to participate in this thing, make some concessions. So anyway, with the dates of all this stuff, I literally could be in Japan on the 17th. They open up on the 11th, vacation 17th. And, obviously I have a couple days off before the vacation or whatnot. So I could literally be there on, the 17th, which is the day the vacation technically starts. And also that would put me in Japan on my birthday, which would be pretty cool birthday present to be in Japan. And it would be the reason that the birthday would actually have some significance, because I would fucking be in Japan for that birthday, which, it is a possibility. It can happen up until that date. I mean, I don't think I'm going to do it, because although I did set that vacation out in hopes that, like, they're going to announce something before then, now that it's October, it's too cool for me to, like, enjoy. I like the 60 to 80 range. So even when I was going to go back to Japan in 2020, I chose a different time. So, the first time was, what was that? Like late July or late June. And I mean, it was extremely uncomfortable. Now, I didn't, the humidity was just ridiculous. So going back, the plan was to go in like April of 2020, which obviously we know how that turned out. And of course, the other thing I was going to do is I was also going to go to China as a side trip. But we know how that turned out and how that's still going. And anyway, not that it's not like I didn't know that, China is China. China was always going to be China. But due to the handling of COVID and everything else, my desire to ever go there is like fucking completely erased. Because when I got back from Japan, I started studying up on some Mandarin. Because I was going to go back, or I was going to go there before, going to Japan the next year, and I wanted to be able to speak. Like, I'm not going to go to a place and not know how to speak, how to like get around. We might not have like deep conversations, but I'll be able to get around and not, I'll be all right, at least. But anyway, we, how that worked out, and how that's still going, like I said. So, yeah. So, and that, that also, the 11th, I mentioned that the 11th, and that is the reason that I mentioned the 11th, because that's when Japan opens up fully. Now, this is what I would consider the third phase of them opening up, because the first step that they did was they had it to where you, limited amount of people could come in, but you had to go through a specific approved, like, tour guides. It was like a bunch of crazy shit. You had to have a specific itinerary. These tour guides, you had to go through a bunch of security protocols, and they were going to be watching everything that you did, noting places that you sat down in public, and of course you had to pay for this as well, because it was, kind of like travel agencies, so you're still paying that premium that you would do. And of course, travel agencies and guided tours are a thing. They've been a thing, but they're not mandatory, and you don't have people you know, sitting, watching over your shoulder, reporting everything that you do. So, you know, they opened that up. And what's funny is when they did announce that they were going to try that, they, when they showed people, those were Japanese people that were like citizens elsewhere. They're like, so yeah, foreigners. But you know, that's what they did, and I hope nobody did that. Then the second phase, they actually did this like not too long ago. So they went from this second phase to just being open like in a very quick succession. Probably because of that yen, like I said, the value. But the second phase was that you still had to go through the travel agency and have an itinerary, but I think you could actually just do what you wanted to do without a chaperone going. It was just like for paper pushing purposes that they had that going on. But you know, you still had to pay, so somebody was still getting you know, pocketing some money. And from what I understand, there were some people that did go in with that one, and they'll be arriving in Japan like after Japan's actually fully open. So they are actually mad. There's people complaining that they paid this money, they went through this stuff to, you know, be able to go, and they're upset that they don't, you know, it's by the time they get there, it's unnecessary, and they've already spent this money. But you know, they should have had patience, because as much as I want to go to Japan, I had zero interest in going while they had those rules in place. Like if I never got to go, you know, there's things that I want to do. So I don't want to take a vacation. I don't want to like travel anywhere else before I go back to Japan, because there's stuff that I would rather do in Japan than, you know, that I didn't do the first time, that I still want to do before I do things in other places. Now, however, the stuff that I did get to do in Japan, like if they did close completely and that was it, never to open again, I'd be fine with what I did. I mean, I wouldn't have a choice but to be, but I did the most important things for me to do in Japan. So yeah, but I would rather have like my second trip out be back to Japan to do some other things that I wanted to do before other places. And it's because the thing is, you're still spending a pretty good amount of money when you leave the country. So it's like, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, it has to be where I want to go. Like, it can't be the second place, third place, or whatever. But after I go to Japan, after I go back and I do these other things, then any other place is open. Like, all right, Japan is cool. I'll probably go back again at some point, but I do have these other things to experience after getting those complete bucket list items out of Japan. But yeah, that covers, the 11th, the 17th, and the 19th, because like I said, Japan opens up on the 11th. I go on vacation on the 17th, which I could actually just go to Japan. And yes, I can afford to do that like right now, because the 12th is the other date, and I'm going to talk about that as well. And as I said, I could be there. I could actually literally be there on my birthday, which would be awesome. But October the 12th. So I have this day off, the 12th that is, for reasons. That is the date that the NVIDIA RTX 4090 comes out. So that is $1,699 or $1,600 at least. Now, if you know anything about video cards, that's the base price for the Founders Edition. And, there may be another version that costs that amount, but most of them are going to cost more than that. I know the ROG Strix, that's $2,000. Now, I really don't want that card. I don't want to spend $2,000 on the 4090 when its base price is $1,600. You know, I got the 3080. I paid $750 for my first 3080. The price that I should have paid for it, like right at launch. The second 3080 that I found in the store was $1,100, which I should not have paid. But it was something that I could flip at the time because, you know, that's during that whole crisis situation. Which, I mean, you know, I flipped it for a 3080 Ti because I found that like the day that the 3080 Ti came out, I went to Micro Center to see if they had any, and then they had the 3080 and some other stuff. So I bought that 3080, you know, at the much inflated prices, but I was able to trade that off for the Ti, which came out good for me. And then my original 3080 that I paid $750 for sold for $1,700. So good showing for that stuff. But, you know, I believe that, you know, I mean, with the 3080 Ti, I got the exact model I wanted, which was the EVGA for the Win 3. Now, 4090, we know that for the 40 series that EVGA is out of the game, so there's going to be no EVGA 4090 for the Win 3 model, which fucking sucks. So I got to get whatever other model. I mean, if I have to get a Strix, you know, Asus ROG Strix, I mean, that's fine. Like, I'll do it if I have to, because that's something that I want to get on day one, and I really don't care what model I get in order to be able to get it, because it's like this: if you don't get it day one, then good luck getting it for a couple of months, you know, at least. Like, I don't think it's going to be as bad as how it was when 3000 series, 30 series, whatever you want to call it, was out, which, you know, I guess because I do have a Micro Center close, I didn't have to deal with as much of that bullshit as other people. I didn't get the 3080 on day one, which sucked, but I got it within a month. And then, you know, I got other 3080s, 3080 Ti, 6900 XT, 3070 Ti. Like, I was just able to get all this stuff when people that could only, you know, could deal with online, they're just now able to get this stuff like normally. When it's about to be old. So anyway, I've already taken off. I want to get there the day before. I want to try to be first 5 in line to get the 4090. Because I was there, like I said, on the 3080 launch. That was the most sought after card for that generation. Value proposition was like pretty stupid. It's, you know, much more powerful than a 2080 Ti, which was $1,200, and this thing's $700. And which, you know, it also kind of makes no sense that people paid the amount of money that they ended up paying for those things at the worst times. You know, you're paying over like $2,000 for this thing because it's the most sought after, more sought after than the 3090, because it's still pretty close to the 3090 as well, which is $1,500 for like 10 to 15% more performance. But you're paying so much more for this thing. You're paying more than twice what the 3080 is supposed to cost for that 1015 dick waving 3090. So the 3080 was the most sought after, but yet they took away the value proposition with all the, you know, the price fuckery. I mean, even the one that I sold, I put it on eBay and that was what it sold for. Not me saying I want $1,700 for this thing. But, you know, it was what it was. But the value proposition for that card was gone. But it is what it is. So anyway, but yeah, I remember when I got there for the 3080, it was like 4 a.m. before opening, and it was like a couple hundred people there. And by this time, the amount of cards was known. And it was 10 plus 2 actually. And the way that, and what I mean by 10 plus 2 is they were getting 10 cards. They had 10 cards ready for opening. Then they were getting 2 more in the shipment. And these cards were given with vouchers. So the 12 people had their vouchers already. And 2 of them I actually knew. I didn't know that they were in the PCs or that they were going to be there. I just happened to see them. Hey, man, what's up? Oh, guys are here. And then, you know, they told me what the deal was, and they actually got them. They were there 4 o'clock p.m. That day before. They were 10 and 11, so one of them got the card, one of them got the first batch, and then they had to wait around for the other guy to get his. But like, those 200 plus people were like still filling the parking lot, knowing that they weren't going to get the cards because the vouchers had been handed out for the cards. So, like, I don't know why they stayed around. But I mean, obviously, I found that shit out. I'm like, hey, good on you. I'll be trying some other times. But, you know, my Micro Center's like 20 minutes away. So, you know, that's why I would just randomly come and check, and I was able to get mine. But, you know, I'm going to get there. I'm going to try to do the same thing. Try to get there at a much earlier time. That's why I already took the day off, actually. So I don't have to worry about coming in and coming to the parking lot, seeing, you know, 200 people there for 15 cards or something. And just, like, you're not going to get one. Like, I don't know why all those people stayed there. Like, because if I came, you know, like, if I came for a 3080, like, and at that time, you couldn't even get a 27. Like, the only thing you could get easily at the store, you know, you couldn't get a 2070 Super or higher. You get a 2060 or 5700 XT. Those were the two best cards you could get at the time. And you weren't gonna wait all that time out there and go get a 2060 Super or even a 5700 XT like that. So, I mean, I left. I don't know what the other people did. Maybe they tried to make some deals with somebody that did get a card. Like, man, just got that 3080. I'll give you $2,000 for it, or, you know, whatever. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't know what they did. I wasn't going to do it. I'm not going to do it today. If I find out that I'm like more than 5 out, I'm probably not going to do it, because even if there's supposedly more chips out there, because both companies said there's going to be a lot of chips. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of supply, which there was not. So I don't trust there's going to be supply and like, oh, it's $1,600. A lot of people are going to buy it. I'm like, people are going to fucking buy it. People have been paying, you know, fucking twice what a 3090 is worth, twice what a 3080 is worth, 3 times what a 3080 is worth for those. So people have the money to buy it. So that it's not gonna be sitting on a shelf. And then people are like, well, Nvidia is such scumbags right now, so people are mad at them for, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's not gonna keep anybody from buying it. Like, I think the shit sucks, but it's not gonna keep me from buying it. I'm still gonna buy the 4090. I'm still trying to get it day one. You know, now if RDNA 3 comes out and it's like really good for a lot less, kind of like, you know, you look at a 6900 XT compared to 3090, it trades blows with everything. And, you know, obviously you don't have the NVENC and all that stuff, and the, you know, the ray tracing isn't nearly as good. But if you're running other games, it trade blows with the 3090. So I mean, like, they have that part of the performance down, you know, comparatively. You know, RDNA 1 was pretty decent. 5700 XT, I had that after my 2070 Super. After I sold it thinking I was going to get that 3080, I ended up putting in that 5700. It was pretty good. And, you know, at that time, I hadn't played any ray tracing games. I don't think I played any ray tracing games until Cyberpunk came out. And that's one of the main reasons I had to get a 3080, so I could play Cyberpunk and not have it look like fucking PlayStation or Xbox. So anyway, you know, that's the thing. I'm trying to get that 4090, and initially that was my thought. Like, hey, if I don't get the 4090, I mean, you know, I'm already planning to spend $1,600 to $2,000 for the card. So, you know, just spending that money to go to Japan, you know, I mean, a plane trip costs less than that. And, you know, obviously I still have to do some other stuff. Still got to, you know, get the room, get a car, blah blah blah. But I'm like, let's say if I got the Founders Edition, it was $1,600. I'm like, that other $400 that I would have had to pay to get like the ROG Strix, I mean that covers the rest of that. But either way, I mean, you know, I could still do that. It's not gonna hurt me like if I just. But I don't know. I mean, I'd rather have the car than actually go to Japan because, like I said, I'm not gonna enjoy going to Japan at this time of year. Like, it's too fucking cold to enjoy something like that. Well, actually, I don't know if I actually mentioned that, but yeah, I don't like it when it's cold. Yeah, I think I did mention that. So the last time it was like super hot, and I was trying to go in like April, so it would be like moderate or nice. But you know, hey, I mean, you know, that'll do it for this video. It is 30 minutes, good timing, and I got done with all the topics I wanted. So with that said, I'll probably do another video when the 4090 comes out, more than likely, probably from Micro Center, and it might be a vlog style video, who knows. So we'll see. That's it. Bye for now.